Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host for today's broadcast, Insane Layer 13, and we'll welcome you here to the 9th round of this shortened 11-round season on F1 2021 as we prepare to get underway at one of my favorite tracks on the current Formula 1 calendar, Bahrain. 16 drivers looking to be taking the track today. Also opening music for today was Lunatic by Stormwolf off of the original Balloon Party album, which dropped 10 years ago, so shout out to that. But anyways, 16 drivers looking to take to the track today. 15 fastest will automatically advance to the next round. So one driver will be the unlucky man knocked out. Championship has kind of taken a slightly altered focus, but it was one everyone was anticipating since early on in the season. We'll get more into the championship fight as it stands right now once we get into the interim period between Q3 and race start itself. First two drivers out on track, Adam Lee X and Wild Nissan GTR. Now we see a few other drivers beginning to come out into the circuit. And now we want to go ahead and talk about one of the things that really... Oh, and AK Herbie already retiring in the pit lane, so apparently he must be serving a qualifying ban. So I missed that information. So with that in mind, we have 15 drivers trying to set laps. So the situation is simple. You get out there, you set a lap, you'll be good. And now I want to real quickly just go ahead and talk about, what makes Bahrain, at least in my opinion, such an iconic track on the Formula 1 calendar. It's been on the calendar for real-life Formula 1 for over a decade now. It's been season opener, late season, mid-season, all over the place. Right now, it pretty much has its part as being either the season opener or one of the first two races of the season under the lights. It's a great place to really see where the positive and negatives of the cars come in. As we watch Adam Lee go around the circuit, he enters Sector 3. Sector 3 is basically one really long straightaway, then a 90-degree corner, and a very, very small kink going into another long straightaway. This first straightaway, you do not have DRS on whatsoever. This entire thing is all about acceleration and how draggy, or ideally less draggy, your setup is on the initial acceleration. Then you come down the main straightaway. This is a DRS straight. It's the longest straightaway on the circuit. You get the idea of what the top speed is. Lee just set a 202 at the speed trap there. Then you go into a series of really, really tight corners. They all come one right after another, followed by another DRS straightaway. So Sector 1, like Sector 3, very much acceleration focused. One's a little bit more top speed focused than 3 is, but they're still both very much focused on acceleration. Now you come down out of 4, and you start running down to Turn 2. These first 5, 6 corners all downhill until you get to the infield backswitch DRS. All of these are mechanical grip focused. The way the car has kind of been thrust over the front axle and the front suspension the entire time through here. Every time you get under braking, it culminates with a very, very tight hairpin. Then you have a straightaway, shortest and slowest of all of them here. It's pure acceleration focus. There's no real worry about top speed. It's just acceleration. You still hit to about 195 at the end of it though. Then you go up 3-4 corners uphill. This one is all aerodynamically focused. It is a very, very aerodynamically sensitive part of the circuit. Then you come shooting out of there back into Sector 3 once you peak at the top of the circuit right here and come back onto that no DRS straightaway. Sector 2 is where you ideally want to get a lot of ideas as to how good or bad drivers are. You can have a great Sector 1 and a great Sector 3, and it won't matter because if you have a poor Sector 2, Wild Nissan GTR is just spun coming out of Sector 2. But if you have a poor Sector 2, that shows you that you have a fundamental issue with some sort of setup on that car. Nissan has been able to continue for now. Another driver had an incident while we were focusing on Adam Lee as he was going around the circuit was his teammate CJ Hurricane, who had a little bit of a hiccup there entering Sector 2, but he is still in the middle of a lap right now. There's also Mantic Meerkat in the McLaren. We're going to go ahead right on board silently with Meerkat for a lap and see what he can put down as a time here at Bahrain. that's a lap on board with Mantic Mirror 6. We're going to try and reach out to CJ Hurricane and see what happened to him from his perspective, because it's a very, very strange situation there. What in the world? What do you mean recently played with 5 weeks ago? That's stupid. Meh. Xbox is going to be a pain, so I'm going to have to manually type in everybody's name that I want to invite. So he has crashed out of the session, and with that in mind, Hurricane will not advance. So there are only going to be 14 people going into Q2 with that in mind. XRL Dave in the Haas has gone ahead and set his lap on medium tire compounds. He still is running with those medium tires right now. His time of 1:28.879 is the slowest thus far. But again, right now, as long as you set a lap and then you don't have an incident afterwards, you should be fine. Hurricane of note had that spin in his very first lap, entering Sector 2. Then he's had a second spin, which resulted in an accident. It's still also in Sector 2, but at the other end of it. So there might be a fundamental issue. All right, and coming into the party now is CJ Hurricane. Hurricane, go ahead and include your audio. A spin on your first lap, and then an accident on the second lap. What happened out there? Is there something wrong with the car setup, or what? Alright, so it looks like you're going to be starting dead last. Do you think you have the car under you that can get you into the points paying positions by race in, though? Alright, well, shame to see you knocked out like that, but we'll be watching you try and make your way up through the grid today.
Okay, thank you.
So Veloce has now set a lap 134.793, so your championship leader not having a very good time of it at the moment. And Adam Lee now goes ahead and retires in the pit lane, so both Aston Martins now out. Now XL Sha'Carri jumps to the top with a 26.941, and that's Extreme F1, who has just had an incident. And Extreme F1 has had an incident, and now he has been taken out of the session. So DNF's beginning to fall across the board. For God's sake, I don't want to have to type in every single person's name when I look for someone. Oh, for God's sake. Alright, let's try this again here. Let me try this. What the? Where's his... There he is. Alright, I'm sorry about that. Hold up. As we now see Mantic Meerkat and Adam Lee and Sha'Carri have all retired in the pit lane, so they feel confident with their times. This could end up being an early into Q1, simply because of both the drivers being knocked out and the drivers saying time is retiring. Alright, coming to the party now is Extreme F1. Extreme, go ahead, include your audio. Big accident at the same part of the track that CJ Hurricane crashed out at. What happened out there?
Trying to go for a lap because my first lap invalidated. Tried pushing to make sure I was safe, but just lost the rear on one tires.
Alright, well, it's going to obviously be a rough start from you, likely dead last. Do you think you can get back into the points paying positions in this race?
Sometimes I can be quite good around here. I'm just hoping the tires don't wear out fast and grip on the sort of areas where you're at high risk.
Alright. Well, we'll be looking forward to you. Hopefully you can survive the race itself, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
Alright. So that is the word from Extreme F1. So 3 drivers not advancing to the next round qualified, aka Herbie serving the qualifying ban. And all this has actually worked out well in his favor. He is now looking like he will start in the 14th position, assuming that Snake and Flavor are both able to get their laps in relatively shortly here. Flavor is committing to staying a lap on the medium tire, so his time will probably be in the 130s, all things considered. But this also means that he is saving more soft tires for the race itself. A little bit of frustration for Schumacher because Schumacher is on a lap. Flavor is also on a lap, and Schumacher very upset. He said earlier to me he's really frustrated with Flavor's appearance and continued presence in the series because he sees that Flavor is not to the speed that he thinks is worthy. And I said, yeah, but Flavor is usually a top 10 finisher in the points despite that. But yeah, 130.353 Flavor again, not really having to push too hard at the moment. Right now, his focus is to just get a lap in and then bring it into the pits, because everyone who has set a lap is guaranteed to make it into the next round. Extra Snake is the only driver left on track who has not yet set a time in the session. And there we are. Schumacher has now brought it into the pit lane. So there's only about 4 cars on track, right? 3 cars on track right now. The 2 Red Bulls of Flavor and Wild Nissan, and then this here Extra Snake in the Mercedes. .106.436 at the end of Sector 2. Flavor's time of note, his time is faster than Fratter's right now, and would have been faster than CJ Hurricane, although Hurricane had spun on his initial lap. So, coming out of the final corners, here comes Snake to the line. And the last time of the session will be a 128.124. Constant Jet goes ahead and retires in pit lane. Wild Nissan, his teammate, ahead coming into the pits. Flavor's going to stay out for another lap, try to see if he can go a little bit faster. He actually does improve up to a 29.870. Again, fuel is burning up, but he just about is out of DRS at this point, so this lap will be significantly slower. There is still Snake on the circuit, and there's also what looks like the Alpine of Veloce. I'm sorry, not Alpine, Williams of Veloce, who has come back out onto the circuit. Veloce having a very interesting last few seasons in XRL. He was a X2 regular due to some controversies that he had with the officials. He ended up getting drop kicked out of X2 and suspended for a time. When he came back, he had to come back through Dev. Then after Dev, he would have to come through X3 before he could take or attempt to take back his seat in X2. He is allowed to reserve for X2 and has actually had a lot of very good races in those reservations, but right now his main focus is trying to lock up the championship here in X3. He won the Dev Championship in a season-long contest against Extra Zola last year. And now he's trying to do the same in X3 before going to X2, or at least that is the plan for him. They can return to X2 next season when the game begins running on F1 2022. 127.569 is the current time he has. Also, we now see Wild Nissan and XXX Bucks. XXX going ahead saying times. Flavor finally comes into the pits, so we still only have 3 cars out on track at the moment. So of note, Dave and Flavor used a set of medium tires on their runs. Everyone else has used softs. So with that in mind, Dave and Flavor will have extra sets of soft tires they can utilize in Q2 to try and advance to the pole shootout. Or, if they so choose, they might have an extra set of soft tires they can use in the race itself. Nissan right there ahead of that Alpine. And I guarantee you Books is not going to be super happy with that. In fact, I think we're going to start seeing him back off. Yeah, he's going to back off on the straightaway. But if Nissan doesn't put this together well, Books is still going to end up dealing with aero wake from that car. Veloce still just now started another lap. Flavor retires in the pit, so only 5 drivers have not retired at this point out of this qualifying session. Red Bull's not seeming to be as purely optimized for straight line speed as some of the other cars, and that was Books, who's just gone around coming out of turn 4. Looked like he put the power down a little bit too soon before the car was straightened out, and one tire fired and just spun him right around. This will likely be an in for his attempt. Schumacher now retires in the pit lane. So yeah, the only drivers who have not retired at this point are the drivers who are on track right now. Veloce low on fuel and not using ERS. This is a very strange circumstance, to say at least. He's 7 seconds off of his time. Oh, and Nissan's around! And Nissan into the inside wall! And he's out! And Nissan has gone and destroyed his chance of ranks in the next round of qualifying. He took a risk of turning another lap that he didn't need to, and now he is out of it! I can't believe that happened. So this is the only man left on track right now, XXX Books. He had a spin earlier. He's going to try and go again, hopefully for him at least. The tires aren't too cooked and he can still push a really good lap in. But again, he already has a lap. As long as he doesn't crash out, he should be fine. He's down by over a quarter in Sector 1, so this is not looking very good for the Alpine driver. And the time is up in the session. So we will only see 12 drivers fighting for the remaining 10 spots. And for Dave and Flavor, this could work out very well for them because they have extra soft tires they can utilize in Q2. And Books is aborted. So that will bring us to an end here in round 1 of qualifying. And here we are. Coming into the party now is Wild Nissan GTR. Nissan, go ahead and include your audio. You already had a lap in, you went back out, and it ended up costing you a spot in Q2. What happened?
Just spun the car and I don't really know what else to say, to be honest.
Alright, well with that, you're going to be starting, by the looks of it, in the 13th position. Do you think you have a car that can get you back into the points paying spots in the race?
Well, I'm not going to jinx it this time because I said last time at Austria that I said I was going to do well and it didn't turn out to do. It didn't turn out well, so we'll see.
Alright, well, looks like based off of qualifying, at least survival is the name of the game. Good luck trying to survive in this race today.
Cheers. Thanks.
Alright, so now we are just standing by and waiting until we get underway for the second round of qualifying that will decide the tires that everyone is going to be utilizing for the start of the race if they get top 10. Alright, so now we prepare to get underway for Q2 here. 12 drivers fighting for 10 spots. Right off the bat, it looks like Snake and Veloce have the medium tires equipped. And the first driver to get out onto the circuit, by the looks of it, is going to be this man here, XR Veloce, your current points leader in the Williams. And he has the medium tires equipped on that car. Immediately crosses the pit lane. Well, after he's crossed the pit lane exit, he immediately swings wide to try and maximize entry into the next corner, trying to get heat into these tires as fast as possible. Again, this circuit may be in the desert, but it is at night, so the ambient temperature is not super high. You're going to have to do a lot more to get proper heat into the tires. Schumacher SF7 has already come out onto the circuit, as has Adam Lee and the McLaren Romantic Meerkat. Now we see the AlphaTauri coming out onto the circuit. That would be the AlphaTauri of XL Sha'Carri, who was at the top of the timesheets at the end of the first round of qualifying. Alright, here comes the Williams to the line to start a lap. And just behind him is his title rival, his number one title rival, Schumacher SF7. It's basically come down to these two. But hiccups on Schumacher's part, along with some great runs off of Veloce, has turned championship battle very well in his favor. But to be fair, almost everyone said early on at the start of the season that Veloce was so fast that they were honestly shocked he didn't get moved up to a higher tier mid-season. And his speed alone was going to win him the title. The fact that Schumacher was able to hold on to the points lead as long as he did honestly speaks volumes to his own ability. We will likely see both Schumacher and Veloce move up into X2 for the following season. For Veloce, it will be a much desired restoration of the placement that he was at before being suspended. But the big thing is a new engine, a new developer, new cars for F1 2022, and I do fully anticipate that in all three categories, X1, X2, and X3, we will see a lot of drivers putting on results that are way better or significantly worse than what anyone was anticipating. Perfect example would be XRL Matrix, for a time known as Mr. Anderson. He was a X3 driver at the very start of this prior season. Early on, though, he got moved up to X2, and despite missing early critical races in X2, he locked up that championship before that season was over. He's now a championship contender in X1. And Schumacher comes almost to a dead stop as he realizes that that time was not good. He set on the soft tires, a banker lap 131.750, but he's going to try and go again, probably on a different set of tires. Very strange circumstances, to say the least. He did pull out of the racing line, though, and other people did go by. Sha'Carri on the softs now goes up and sets a 26.887, so it looks like Sha'Carri has pole position pretty much locked up. No one seems to be able or willing to fight with him. Veloce might be able to put a fight up in Q3, but I don't think the gap between medium and soft tires is going to be a 1.6 second gap. Snake's navigating as he is in the middle of his lap. Everyone with the exception of Gusty is on circuit at the moment right now. Dave about to start a lap. This here's Constant Jet, who is in the middle of the lap, and thankfully there's a lot of traffic on track, but it's all behind him, so he's going to be in a very good position. Despite the fact that Sha'Carri has been the faster driver, Constant Jet has pretty much positioned himself as the #1 in the AlphaTauri. Last season, just being able to earn points was a victory celebration. Now, he is legit one of the better drivers this season. He has absolutely turned things around here, and Mantic Meerkat has had an accident. Mantic Meerkat has had an accident and at a very strange part on the racetrack. That's a good way down that straight. And the car is destroyed. Oh, and there's a Mercedes that's just gone off as well. Is that Snake? No, that was Fratters who's went around. But Mantic Meerkat will not advance to the next round. Let me get him real quickly in here. So no McLaren will advance to the final round. Qualifying now, it is 11 drivers fighting for 10 spots, but you need to be able to go faster than Meerkat's time of 28.6 if you want to do so. Fratter sets a 39 after that spin. Schumacher only had that 31, and he stopped. It honestly could have probably been a better lap, but he must have now been reconsidering and wants to go out on medium tires, I imagine. This is Dave. Dave, along with Flavor, are drivers that we knew had extra sets of soft tires for the session. Adam Lee retires in the pits with a 28.577. He says, hey, look, 28 should be good enough to get me into the next round without issue. Dave crosses the line 35.892. So right now, Schumacher, Dave, Fratters, all sandbagging on their first laps. We know, well, Fratters had a spin, but we know that those drivers can go faster. Gusty in the middle of the lap right now. Oh, and Dave has had a incident in turn 1 on his subsequent lap. What in the world is going on? It's in theory, it should be a low stakes Q2. Only one person not advancing, but there's at least 5 different people who, at this point, might not advance depending on how this goes. What in the Fratters now? The other Mercedes driver has, no, the same Mercedes driver actually has a spin in the exact same part of the racetrack. And he's actually going to end up blocking his teammate Snake for a moment in the process. Snake's going to hopefully get a draft off of him. Veloce second, 128.435. Constant Jet third, 128.540. Books fifth, 28.747. And now we see Fratters coming into the pits. Gusty still has yet to set a lap. Flavor is setting 6th to 28.845. This has been a bizarre Q2. I thought Q1 was bizarre. This has been a bizarre Q2, to say the least. Gusty now beginning his lap. So right now, Schumacher, Dave, Fratters, and Gusty are the drivers who are at the highest risk, as far as I can tell, of getting knocked out in Q2. Meerkat, we know, is not going to advance. The question is going to be, can the drivers get times faster than Meerkats in order to get themselves into Q3? Flavor also might be at some risk still, because his time is still slower than what Meerkat's time had been. Same with Books. Meerkat's time would have been good enough to earn him 5th at the moment, so this could have a significant knock-on effect as the session goes on. DRS slams shut in the Alfa Romeo for Gusty as now he begins working his way uphill. Coming out of Sector 2 to the top of the racetrack, 107.010. And now it's just 2 straightaways with a 90-degree and then a slight kink in the middle. Schumacher is out on track right now. And Flavor has just gone up to 2nd with a 28.4. Well, Flavor, how be darned, did not see that coming. Gusty, 128.964 at the moment. And Schumacher on the medium tires is actually up on time right now. Up at the end of Sector 1. Can he maintain it in Sector 2? Big wiggle there as he went over the curbs. And he's backed out of it. He'll be able to recharge his ERS and should have enough fuel to go for another run. But Schumacher holding the same strategy that his teammate last season, Chevy Spark, used in qualifying, set one lap on the soft tire compounds, but not usually with any ERS utilization, and then go again on the mediums and really lay hard into it then. Although Schumacher waiting a lot longer to get this lap going. 135.446. So yeah, we know he can go faster. Car will be a little bit lower on fuel this time by. I'm honestly shocked that there didn't count as a disqualification. Alright, into corner 4 goes your Ferrari. He's up again, so this is the fastest Sector 1 he's had thus far. Now it's through Sector 2. Dave and Fratters on the outside looking in. They're both coming back onto the circuit to begin outlaps. In fact, as I say that, Dave has just started his next attempt. He has only set a 135.892 thus far. He needs to set a lap without mistakes. It is Schumacher versus Dave and Fratters right now for these last positions. And that's Fratters, who has just had an incident there in Sector 2. Is there damage to that car? Show me a better camera angle so we can see if there's damage to the car, please. Game. Camera angle. Change it. And he's around! Well, he may have overheated his tires as Schumacher crosses the line and goes up second, 128.373 on the medium tires. It's the second fastest thus far, fastest on the mediums. So it is now Snake versus Dave versus Fratters for these remaining spots right now. Dave in the middle of the lap. He is up by a small amount off of his prior time. He needs to avoid having a mistake right here at the top of the circuit. He does. He is up by 7.8 seconds, so he could still contend for this spot. Oh, but Fratters has had an instant now. In the same part of the racetrack, Fratters has not been able to set a single lap without a spin there at the top of the circuit. Dave now jumps up to second with a 27.5. So now Gusty is the one fighting the Mercedes. And Meerkat continues to hamstring a lot of drivers, and Fratters is around, and he's into the wall, and he's out of it! And that is it for Fratters. So now for Snake, it is simple. He must beat a 128.6. Does he have the ability to do so? Snake on an outlap right now. All the focus is on him. All the other drivers are pretty much locked in. All right, coming in the party now is Fratters. Fratters, go ahead and include your audio. A spin on your first attempt, a spin on your second attempt, a spin and then an accident on your third attempt. What happened? Is there something wrong with the car setup or what?
Yeah, so just for a rundown. I've done 5 laps in quali so far. I've spun on every single lap. I spun 4 times on that out lap alone, which was kind of fun. 4 of 1 put me in the wall. Yeah, on that last one I forgot to change tyres, so I was already on the rubbish set. So I had to try and race it back to the pits to come in, get a new set and come out again. And in doing so I managed to spin 4 times, which didn't help my cause. But now just really struggling with the setup. So really practice. I was messing about with the tyres, tyre pressures and that. No matter what I was doing, it was just constantly making it worse. So if I make it beyond lap 3 in this race, I'll be happy.
Okay, so it seems from your end at least you're not anticipating any points from you. So then the question becomes your teammate Snake right now. Oh, and then Alpine has just gone around. That's Books. Your teammate Snake right now doesn't look like he's positioned to move out of Q2 either. So do you think there's any way you might be able to help your teammate at least in the race?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's currently on a lap right now. He's got to do a 28.9, and that'll put him through. Don't know if he is going to do that or not. But, I mean, like, let's be honest. You say I'm not hopeful on points. When am I hopeful on points? I always go into every race thinking I'm not going to score. So when I do, it just makes it that much sweeter. But I'm always second driver to Snake, trying my best to give him the best result possible.
All right, well, as your teammate crosses the line, and it does look like he will make it in. Last possible moment, 127.8. All right, so you'll be starting 12th in the race. Good luck at least trying to survive every lap out there. Is there any change you think you will be able to make to the setup before the race starts that can help you, or do you think it's kind of a lost cause?
Probably a lost cause, but I'll mess about and see what I can come up with.
All right, well, thanks for jumping in and talking with us. Hopefully we don't have to talk to you again today.
Yeah, I'll see you in about half an hour, yeah?
Let's hope not, but it does seem likely. As we see XRL Flavor coming across the line, he will actually go faster on this lap. He'll put himself into the 127s now also. So it's Gusty who ends up getting squeezed out by a last minute by XRL Snake, and Mantic Meerkat does not advance either. So only 2 of our 9 drivers out the front will be starting on medium tires. They will be your championship contenders: Schumacher SF7, the Ferrari, and XR Veloce in the Williams. Everyone else will be starting on worn softs when the race begins. Sha'Carri continues to easily be the fastest driver, over half a second ahead of everyone else. Alright, so 9 drivers fighting for the remaining 9 positions. First one to come out into the circuit. Looks like it will be Veloce like it was last session. The question is, can anyone stop Sha'Carri at the top of the timesheets? And it's a rush almost instantly to get out onto the circuit. 6 of our 9 drivers immediately taken to the track. And now I can say 7 because I'm seeing Constant Jet. He's coming out of the pits. Flavor still in pit lane, as is XXX Books. But the 7 other drivers are out on track. Right now, Snake is trapped behind Schumacher. He's going to want to open up a bit of a gap between these two. In the same vein, Veloce has Sha'Carri right behind him. I would not be surprised. Well, I'm sorry, Sha'Carri's ahead of Veloce, actually. So Veloce might try to get a draft off of his rival. It's not supposed to be allowed, but sometimes you can't help it. But Sha'Carri and Constant Jet are in a very interesting position because they can help each other draft on the straights, and with 4 different straightaways here, 3 of them DRS straights, is very, very, very easy to help a teammate as long as you're able to time things out in Sector 2 that you're not horribly compromising the following driver's aerodynamics. Now we see Books starting to come down the track, come down pit lane that is, preparing to get a lap begin as Sha'Carri crosses the line. We're going to watch him for a lap here, see what he can do. There's a bit of a blockage that's happening there on the final straightaway. Adam Lee gets way off the circuit, backs right up to Dave. Dave, in the process, backs up right back to Constant Jet. So I can easily see those drivers from Schumacher back to Constant Jet having a bit of a frustrating freight train scenario there, where they all kind of end up hampering each other's laps. 27.8 for Sha'Carri at the end of Sector 1. This is all mechanical grip, as you pretty much have the weight of the car thrust over the front suspension, and the rear is really light through most of these corners. Crest a really small hill here, and then you toss the car into the tightest hairpin on the circuit. Then it's a little bit of an acceleration focus. The DRS pops open, and at the end of this small back straightaway, 194 for the AlphaTauri. Now this section, you go through about 4 uphill corners, all aerodynamically focused. 104.988 at the end of Sector 2 as he exits the top of the racetrack. Now it's the run down to the final 2 corners. Really, it's just one final corner. It's kind of awkwardly split. And Sha'Carri sets the time everyone will be chasing of a 126.499. As you see Flavor coming out to the track behind. Then it is going to be Veloce who crosses with a 27.022. Then it will be Schumacher. And he will set a 27.001. So Schumacher coming close to getting into the 26 range. Snake with a 28.057. That's what I was talking about. Drivers just kind of gain into each other. Dave 28.514. Constant Jet 27.266. So Jet was not too negatively impacted by the aero wake of other drivers. Snake, though, came almost instantly to a stop after a lap because he wants to go, I imagine, for another shot. So he's going to probably be, backing way off this lap. And I wouldn't be surprised if that means he has a lot more fuel on board than the other drivers. He might be able to get into the 27s without too much issue just after burning more fuel off. Formula One cars, for whatever reason, are extremely, extremely weight sensitive, despite the fact that they've been some of the heaviest, if not the outright heaviest, that they've ever been in history. Book's in the middle of a lap, and he's right there in the middle of everyone else who are on cooldown laps right now, but the gap should be good enough that he won't be too negatively affected. He is the only Alpine driver on track right now. Comes out of the final corner, and, second to last corner, down the non-DRS straightaway here. So drag, very important to minimize here. And then you navigate the last corner, the 2-part final corner. And Books will go ahead and set a lap time, 128.367. Now the focus goes to Adam Lee, who invalidated his first lap. He's going for a second one. No, he's not. He's ran into the pit. So he says, look, I realized that wasn't any good, so he gives up. So now the focus goes to Flavor. Flavor sees Books farther up on the circuit. Books likely on a cooldown lap, as everyone else is on track, is on pit lane at the moment now. A little bit later on the throttle for Flavor out of that corner compared to most of the other drivers. He's being very calm, very controlled with his circuits here. 55 seconds, 56, 57. Navigating his way uphill. And it'll be a 106. He's around. He's in the inside wall. And Flavor is out of it. And he will not be able to set a lap in the final session. And it was looking so good, so strong in Q2. And it all comes apart at the top of the circuit. And he will be relegated to a 9th place starting position. As Dave is now back out onto the circuit, going to try again. And I imagine we'll see the same out of Books here. Actually, Books did not put together a very strong lap. And he's now out of fuel, so this is not looking good for the Alpine. So Dave kind of in position of his own. And it's going to be a relatively silent circuit for a bit. So a bit of a silent racetrack for the moment. Adam Lee now beginning to come back out into circuit. Lee has not yet set a time. It's a wide spread from 1st to 7th, over 2 seconds right now. All right, and coming into the party right now is XRL Flavor. Flavor, go ahead and include your audio. Big accident there. What happened?
It's my own stupid fault. I was listening to Leif in the party, Schumacher. Apparently he's my friend, but I've just heard what he said on the stream. I didn't hear it sounded about him saying I'm not good enough for this league. So I have a lot to prove, don't I? But yeah, I was just listening to him going into that corner, and I shouldn't have done. Should have just drove it my own way. And that was it, really. Job done. Put too much power on at the wrong time. And yeah, and I'm done for.
Alright, well, you're going to be starting 9th today.
That's fine.
And at least based off of what we saw. And oh! And Dave's around! And he hits the outside wall. He'll be able to continue. Flavor, that car did look strong, though, at least in Q2.
Yeah.
Do you think you can at least contend for a potential podium today?
No, I don't think so. I'd like to think I can get a top 10. I would love a top 10. I've struggled all season in X3. I've done well in EFR. I've done well in... let me just turn my stream down, sorry. I've done well in EFR, I've done well in Dev, but it's eluded me in X3 if I'm honest. So if I can get a top 10, I'll be really happy, especially the way I feel awful, mate. Honestly, I feel really bad. Dev warmed up. So if I can just get something out of today's race, I'll be happy. But yeah, I'm just keep learning, keep going. That's my fastest time ever around here in qualifying that's competitive. In a league, say. So yeah, it's amazing really. So I'll just keep going, keep doing what I do, and just keep silently getting better. So hope so anyway.
Alright, well, 9th place starting position. Let's see what you can make out of it, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks for jumping in.
Great stream as always, mate. Nice one.
Alright, much appreciated. Dave, going to have to go another circuit. Adam Lee has now just had a spin of his own out of the hairpin. Now, he is still in the middle of a legal lap, so he can at least record a lap. But right now, it seems like Dave, Lee, and obviously Flavor was crashed out, are not going to be continuing at all for pole position. So it seems like it's a 6-man fight. And even amongst that, the top 4, Shikari, Schumacher, Veloce, and Constant Jet, are in a zip code all on their own right now. Jet already in the middle of another lap. He's up by about 500ths at the end of Sector 1 right now. So the AlphaTauri is extremely, extremely strong. This circuit really, really suits the strengths of the AlphaTauris when you're running under realistic circumstances. But X1, X2, X3, they're on equal car performance. And this team has absolutely found something, to say the least. He pulls over, and I have to wonder if maybe the plan is that he is going to try and get a draft off of his teammate, or give his teammate a draft. Yeah, that seems to be what's going on here. So Constant Jet is going to be leading Shikari around as Shikari starts in the lap. So they're going to try and do some drafting shenanigans to get Shikari an even better time here. Schumacher, Veloce, Books all on outlaps right now. Actually, Schumacher has just begun another lap as we are just a bit less than 70 seconds left in the session. Shikari backing way off, so I'm guessing Shikari's plan is to catch Constant Jet in Sector 3 rather than having to potentially worry about aero wake in Sectors 1 and 2. Has a lot of confidence, but I'm guessing that is the strategy. Through turns 1, 2, and 3 now. And he invalidates! And Shikari invalidates! He is not going to go faster! It's over for him! So his time that he set early on, 26.499, continues to be the one that everyone has to gun for. Constant Jet down just a bit in Sector 1 this time by. Adam Lee might be a wild card because he has a lap going. He is up by nearly 19 seconds to the end of Sector 2, so he might be able to get a proper lap in here. To the line, Adam Lee in the Aston Martin. He will go ahead and set a lap time 1:27.145. That's good enough for 4th. And time's up, over, plow. Here comes Schumacher. He is up by 4/10 at the end of Sector 2. Schumacher trying to lock up a front row starting position. 26.569, so he's the second driver into the 26s. Here comes Books. Books is down on time. It's not looking good for him. And then you have Constant Jet. Jet coming to the line. 26.959, that's good enough for third at the moment. Veloce. He'll be coming to the line shortly. Snake is also in the lap, but he's down by a second and a half. So he's not going to compete. Adam Lee has a chance to go one more lap, but he is low on fuel and has already calmed it down. So the question now is going to be, can Veloce put himself onto the front row and try to knock his championship rival off the front row? To the line, Veloce, 27.004, not good enough. So it is going to be AlphaTauri Ferrari, AlphaTauri Williams, Aston Martin, Mercedes, Alpine, and Haas for the front four rows in today's event. So there's your top 9 starters, and it's really interesting because the top 5 all within 2/3 of a second of each other, but then Snake well out of a second from the pole, Books well out over a second from the pole, Dave over 2 seconds out. Flavor didn't even get a set of time, although Flavor did have some really good laps, at least in Q1 and 2, so we know he had some pace, but I don't know if he had pace to get into the 26s. So this is going to be really, really strange. I imagine we're going to see, unless we have a lot of yellow flags due to cars crashing out, I think we're likely going to see a lot of lap traffic in today's race. So now is the standby. We wait to get underway for the race itself. While we do that, we're going to go ahead and talk very briefly about the championship as it stands. 1 second. So standings as they are right now. In the manufacturers fight, Red Bull is still dead last with only 22 points thus far. But what in the world do you mean I need to be signed in to... I am signed in, Xbox! Did we just have a lobby crash? Alright, we may have had a lobby crash, so I will wait until I get a invite back in, I guess. Fantastic. Alright, so anyways, back to the championship standings. The Manufacturers' Championship, 10th is Red Bull with 22 points. 9th is the Alpine team with 32. 8th is Aston Martin with 33. 7th is Alfa Romeo with 62. 6th is Mercedes with 65. 5th is McLaren with 70. 4th is Haas with 122. Ferrari has slipped down to 3rd now with only 128 points. Not helped by the fact that CKS Dark Rider has not made an appearance in the last few weeks. Williams is 2nd with 147. AlphaTauri barely holds on to the manufacturer's points lead with 151 points. In the Drivers' Championship, Boothie is set 21st with 2 points. Flavor and Herbie are tied with 19th, 5 points each. 18th is SFR Shu with 6. There's a tie for 16th between Fryers next spot with 8 points each. 15th is Mantic Meerkat 77 with 11. 14th, Collie Boy with 16th. 13th is Wild Nissan GTR with 17 points. 12th is JR Footballer 26 with 22 points. 11th is Ocean Lion 08 with 23. 10th is CKS Dark Rider 35. 9th, XO Snake with 43 points. 8th is PRUSC 1012 with 46 points. 7th is Herbago 91 with 59. 6th is XO Gussie with 60. 5th is Constant Jet with 64. 4th is XO Shikari with 86. 3rd is XO Dave with 91, just barely keeping himself in championship contention. 2nd is Schumacher SS7 with 97. XO Veloce is 1st with a 125 point advantage to his name right now. Is looking possible, though not a guarantee, that Veloce could walk out of this race with the championship tied up. So I wouldn't put too much faith in that happening yet. I think that's more likely will happen next week at Baku. Good thing we were a little bit ahead of schedule when it came to qualifying. Bad news, though, it does seem like we have gone through some level of a lobby crash. There we are. Alright, now we're just going to have to stand by, I guess, for an extended period of time until we get underway with the race itself. So this is going to be a long delay, sadly. Alright, well, guess we're just going to stand by until we get underway for the race itself then. Alright, we're going to wait until everyone gets their tires properly set up. In the top 9, there are only 2 drivers who will be starting on the medium compound tires. That will be your top 2 in the championship, XR Veloce and Schumacher SF7. Aside from that, though, everyone else in the top 9 will be starting on the soft tire compounds. Alright, so everyone should have their tire... oh, no, apparently people still don't have their tire compound set up. Okay. So we're still just kind of burning time until we get to the race itself. While we were running a little bit ahead of schedule when it came to qualifying, the subsequent lobby crash has given us significant issues going forward. Still haven't properly set up the proper tire compounds, as Constant Jet and Emily still have mediums equipped and they should be running softs. Interesting thing considering how this all has gone though, due to the lobby crash, everyone will be starting on fresh rubber. No one's going to be starting on scuffed or worn rubber, so the soft tires will have anywhere from 1 to 3 extra laps of life in them. Same with the medium tire compound. Now everyone is required to do at least 1 tire change during today's race to a different compound. However, there isn't anything else beyond that at this point. Alright, and here we are. Now we get underway for the race itself. 16 drivers, 4 lights, 5 lights. And it's lights out! Away we go here at Bahrain, and right off the bat, Sha'Carri, Constant Jet have a great start. Schumacher with a very, very poor start. Here comes Dave trying to dive to the inside, and Belotti's going to go around on the outside. Ferrari, Williams go side by side through 1 and 2. Here comes the Aston Martin of Adam Lee. He's got a huge head of steam, but he shoots to the inside. He's going to try to make it 3 while on the run down into turn 4. Will he make it 6? Yes, he does! No, he doesn't! He's a big twitch in the process. They're still side by side with the Ferrari as Veloci now moves up into 3rd position. Emily finally comes out of there with 4th. Oh, and Dave is around! And 3rd in the championship, Dave goes around right off circuit. Now, it doesn't look like he'll be able to continue without damage, at least. But frustration early for the Haas. Oh, wow! Oh, wow! Who was that? The angle wasn't the greatest to see, but someone has lost an entire front wing. And I believe that might have been CJ Hurricane. No, it was Meerkat in the McLaren. So Meerkat will have to pit early on this lap. But at the front is AlphaTauri 1-2 as they are fighting to establish dominance in the Manufacturers' Championship right now. Already, Sha'Carri 1.5 seconds nearly over his teammate, and Constant Jet is nearly 2 seconds ahead of Veloce. Adamley is 4th, Schumacher is 5th. Snake is in 6th, Book 7th, Nissan 8th, Frater is 9th, Flavor 10th. 11th is Gusty, 12th is Herbie, who's recovered from his last place starting position, although he just lost the position at Extreme F1 at the end of the straight. CJ Hurricane is 14th. Dave is just about 2 seconds off the back of the grid in 15th. And like I said, Meerkat has to repair that damage. He is back there in the pits, dead last at the moment. So Book's putting pressure on Snake. Alpine versus Mercedes. They're both held up behind Schumacher, who's in 5th. Right now, Schumacher trying to stay within a second of Adam Lee so he can utilize the DRS to keep in touch with his title rival, who is sitting 3rd right now. Adam Lee just a bit more than half a second out from that Williams. And when DRS kicks in, Veloce might be at risk of losing positions to the Aston Martin driver. And Lee is slowly trying to break away from Schumacher. There won't be DRS on the main straight here, but there will be DRS on the Sector 1 straight in between turns 3 and 4. 129.4 for Sha'Carri at the front. And Lee is going to try and make this overtake happen, potentially, without DRS. He's right there. He's right underneath the Williams, but he will not make a move here because he knows he'll have DRS in the subsequent straightaway. He wants to utilize that to the best of his abilities. Here it is, DRS in his favor. He looks but will not commit, and he's right behind the Williams, so he's going to be dealing with the full impact of aerodynamic wake as they run downhill through here. Aston Martin attacking the curbs very aggressively, has a nice tighter line at the bottom of Sector 2 there. Now they run over this small little hill crest into the following DRS straight. Gap between the Williams and the Astons opened up, though. I don't think Adam's going to be able to get alongside Veloce here, so he's still going to have to deal with aerodynamic weight in this uphill section again. Doesn't seem to harm him that much. He doesn't lose that much time. He's still about half a second out from the Williams. No DRS on the straightaway, but he's got draft, and that will help to gradually brain him up, and he will have DRS on the main straightaway. There it is. DRS pops open. Here comes Adam Lee. And using DRS, easy, simple, no effort overtake on the inside as Lee goes up into third and Veloce falls to fourth. This brings Schumacher and Snake a little bit closer to the fray, but now Veloce has DRS on Adam Lee on the subsequent straightaway and will try and make the exact same pass back. Problem is, this straight's a lot shorter, just doesn't work out. Lee now has a position. Veloce has his title rival Schumacher behind him now. Dave fighting with CJ Hurricane for the second to last place. 14th and 15th right now, but CJ Hurricane uses DRS off of the Alfa Romeos ahead to not have to worry about it. So the top 6, top 7 kind of in a, well, first and second are off on their own. Then everyone from 3rd to 7th are kind of in their own fight, and then everyone from 10th on back are having their own little spats right now. Back as we look back here, AK Herbie is now lost position both CJ Hurricane and Flavor. So what had started off relatively well is now starting to fall apart. They're 3 wide down the straightaway, and there's not really anything Herbie can do. He has forced to take the outside line. He'll lose the position of both Dave and Flavor. Could there be wing damage to Herbie's car? Yellow flag, Mercedes, that's Fratters! And another accident for Fratters in the same part of the racetrack. He spun out at 4 different times in Q2. And the good news, he is able to continue running. The bad news, he is going to have to pit, and this is going to be a lot of damage that they'll need to repair. Meanwhile, Veloce right behind Adam Lee, but not in a position to make the overtake yet. He's going to try again on this next straightaway. Closing with speed, but cannot do anything with it. The Aston Martin just seems to be better equipped on straightaway speed. All 16 drivers who have started this race are still in it, and we have not had a yellow flag yet in the session. Though we have had accidents, Meerkat, Fratters, and Extreme F1 all have had instances that have seen them lose their front wings, and those 3 drivers will be the most likely ones to go a lap down if we stay at this pace. Veloce again has DRS and uses it to close the gap down between himself and the Aston Martin ahead. This means that he has more aerodynamic weight he has to deal with going uphill here at the end of Sector 2. Oh, and that's Constant Jet, your second place man, has spun out at the top of the hill at the end of Sector 2. He'll be able to keep going. There's no damage to the car, but he has fallen now to the 8th position in the process. And no damage, he'll be able to continue. But now Sha'Carri in a zip code literally of his own, 9 seconds ahead of Adam Lee in second spot. And Books has just spun out of the top 7 now in the final corner. He'll be able to continue as Veloce overtakes Adam Lee using DRS on the front straightaway, and now Lee is going to try and do the same back in the subsequent straightaway. He's right underneath the Williams rear wing. He also has Schumacher to contend with. Schumacher wants this position. He dives to the inside. He's going to make contact, and he's out, and Schumacher's out, and that's it. Championship is over, as Schumacher made a high-risk move on Veloce, speared into his side, went sideways. There was nowhere for Adam Lee to go, and he speared right into the side of Schumacher's car. And championship is over. Veloce will walk out of here. As long as he earns a respectable amount of points, he will walk out of here with the championship locked up. interestingly enough, that accident does not bring out a yellow flag. We stay under green flag conditions. But now, Snake is the driver fighting with Veloce, and there is the question of, is there any damage to Veloce's car? I don't imagine there is. But we'll see if he comes rushing into the pits here or not. Also, that incident has now opened up Sha'Carri's gap over the rest of the field to 10, almost 10.5 seconds. And yes, Veloce stays out. He is out of DRS range of Snake, and also the medium tires will last longer than the soft, so Veloce now in the catbird seat. This race will continue to come to him as this goes on. Constant Jet is in 5th as he makes a dive bomb and steals this position off of Wild Nissan. However, putting the pressure on in 1, 2, and 3. They're still side by side in the subsequent turns 1, 2, and 3. Constant still has the nose ahead though, using DRS side by side in 4. One of them has to back out of it going downhill. A little bit of contact, and it will be Jet who backs out as Nissan holds on to 4th for just a little bit longer. So Jet trying to recover from an earlier spin after being one of the dominant drivers in 2nd. Ooh, big twitch by Jet. Car got high centered on the inside curb. Meanwhile, there's this fight here from Gusty all the way back to about Dave, and Herbie is just outside of it as well. Gusty does not have DRS, but Hurricane and Dave behind him do. Dave knows that if he can walk out here with some points, he could potentially take 2nd in the championship away from Schumacher. And Gusty coming into the pits, as is Constant Jet. Well, no, Gusty didn't come in. It looked like Gusty was going to come in. I guess not. But Jet has said that, hey, these tires are toasted after that spin. He's not going to waste any more time on them. So he will pit and try to get out there by himself so he doesn't have to worry about anyone else's aerodynamic wake. Hurricane, Dave make a bit of contact through 1, 2, and 3. And Dave takes a position from Hurricane now. But again, Hurricane has the advantage when it comes to tire life. Sha'Carri has opened up a 12.12 second gap over Veloce, and Veloce also has a time penalty right now. So this should be an easy victory for Sha'Carri today. Herbie's closing in on this fight ahead, but you can tell by the line that he's running that this setup in his car is extremely aerodynamic sensitive, and every time he has to start dealing with the aero wake from the 3 cars ahead, he starts drifting off the proper racing line, so he's just barely outside DRS range right now, won't have DRS on the main straight, so the focus now comes to Dave versus Gusty. Dave will have DRS, Gusty does not. How aggressively does the Alpha Male defend? You really can't do any defense in a situation where someone else is going to be 15 kilometers an hour faster than you in a straight line. The Haas slides right in front, jumps right on the brakes in front of Gusty. Gusty got really lucky and smart there, not run into the back of the Haas. So now the Haas has that position. Gusty trying to fight back, but Dave just holds kind of a middling line coming onto that second DRS straight, and it prevents Gusty from even trying to set up. And instant Dave with a big twitch though, out of 4, and he goes right from 5th to 7th in the process. And now here comes Herbie. He'll catch up now. So that was interesting. So Dave seems to be having the opposite problem with Herbie. Dave seems to be fine running by himself, but rather because he either needs the visual reference to get a good corner in, or maybe the tires are just too worn, or there is too much downforce on the car, whatever. A big incident when he is out by himself with no dirty air, and he goes right back to 7th and immediately seems to kind of get back into position. Well, I say that Dave is really twitchy there through the uphill sections as losing touch with Gusty and Hurricane ahead. So could Dave's tires have passed their ideal lifespan? He's trying to get back in the DRS range of the two drivers ahead. He is barely within DRS, so he'll have DRS that he can utilize to close back in on this fight. Hurricane right behind Gusty as they go down the main straightaway. And Hurricane will take the position as Herbie wants to try and find a way by Dave, but can't make it stick. Gusty and Hurricane still fighting farther up. And as they do that, we'll bring Gusty into the fray. We bring Dave into the fray. They're side by side for 5th and 6th. You can see them. Herbie thought of making the move on Dave, couldn't commit to it. Hurricane Gusty still side by side for a 5th position, but it will be Gusty who keeps that position. So Hurricane, who is fighting back from a Q1 qualifying accident for a potential top 5 position. Now they come onto another DRS straightaway. Hurricane has DRS on Gusty once more. Does he make a move into the braking zone? The answer, yes he does. He looks to the inside, pulls alongside, denies the inside to the Alfa Romeo. Side by side as they go uphill, but the Alfa Romeo has the outside line that gives them more speed, and these corners, which are more aerodynamically focused, having more speed is going to be preferable. But the Aston Martin is still right there behind. There is one other fight going on farther up as Veloce is trying to hold the position over Snake. But this one continues to be the primary battle on the circuit. Hurricane now uses DRS to easily scoot back by Gusty. Gusty breaks early though and keeps him side by side through 1 and 2. And Gusty is around right in front of Dave! And Dave now has wing damage, and Gusty has gone around, and Herbie gets promoted up into 6th. And for Dave, this is aggravating because any chance he had of passing Schumacher for 2nd in points is now might be gone as this race continues to be run under green flag conditions. No yellow flags thus far today, and this puts Dave into a hole. He was going to have to pit sooner rather than later, but I don't know if he wanted to pit now or not, and even if he did, he's going to lose time due to this wing damage. So Herbie trying to close back in on Gusty, but Herbie actually had to back out when all that happened. So while he has gained position, and while Nissan has had an accident there in Sector 2, and that is a virtual safety car, as Wild Nissan crashes out. Full course safety car, and this is good news for Dave. And Snake gets a penalty for speed in the pit lane as Veloce. Excuse me, Veloce and Snake and everyone basically came into the pits except for your race leader Sha'Carri. I think Sha'Carri was past the pit lane entrance when the yellow flag officially fell. So with that in mind, he has to go another lap on the soft tires, but he now has a near 40-second advantage over Veloce. So I think this will still work out in his favor. He can still afford to make a stop and jump onto different tires without issue to the end of this race. As everyone pretty much is pitting under this yellow flag, the exceptions being Flavor and Meerkat, as Flavor and Meerkat had both made stops before this yellow flag came out. This will promote Flavor back into the points in 10th position, and Meerkat will go back up into what looks to be 13th. So the interesting thing to note right now, as we see Sha'Carri finally coming into the pit lane, he is at least anticipated to still have the race lead. Softs come off, and they're going to put medium tires on. He'll need to make these medium tires last 16 laps. Camera. Camera, what are you doing? Camera. Camera, what are you doing? There we are. So everyone is now on either medium or hard tire compounds. Shikari on the mediums, Veloce on hard, Snake on mediums, Constant Jet on slightly worn mediums, CJ Hurricane on hards, Herbie on hards, Books on slightly worn hards, Gusty on hards, Dave and Flavor on mediums, Extreme F1 on hards, Adam Lee, Meerkat, and Fratter on mediums. Coming to the party now is Wild Nissan GTR. Nissan, go ahead and include your audio. Big accident there. What happened that took you out?
I think I was just pushing too hard. Pushing too hard and didn't take the right racing line.
Alright, I guess there's not anything else to say, I guess.
It sucks like, but move on.
Alright, 2 races left in the season. Red Bull still at the bottom of the manufacturer's point standings. The final 2 races at Azerbaijan and Brazil, do you think there's a chance you can at least get Red Bull out of 10th in the manufacturer's standings in those remaining races?
I'd say, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be tough.
Alright, well, I appreciate your honesty. I do want to say thanks for being willing to jump in and speak with us on the matter.
No worries.
Alright, and that's the word from Wild Nissan, and Veloce running very far off the line there at the top of the hill. Don't know what that was all about. Well, at this point in the event, everyone from top to bottom will have a chance to recharge their ERS. Real quickly, we can also look at telemetry to see how everyone is at with fuel, but we're anticipating everyone should be good on fuel at this point in the event. Yep, everyone's good on fuel, so that's no issue. Time penalties. 3 seconds for Veloce, 5 seconds for Snake, 3 seconds for Herbie, 3 seconds for Extreme F1, and 3 seconds for Adam Lee. And everyone should be gathered up by the end of this lap, so I imagine we'll be going green on lap 15. And for Dave, this has been great news for him, involved in an incident with Gusty, but he will be able to still be in the top 10 in 9th position, still in the points, and he'll have medium tires to the end of this race. And there we are now. We see the group from 9th to 13th finally catch the rear of the grid. Fratters, who has had instance already today, but still in it, running in 14th. He needs to catch up the back of the grid before this lap is over. It will be difficult, but I do think he'll be able to do it. Now he comes over the small little hill crest into the hairpin. Yes, he will catch the rear of the grid by the looks of it at the end of this back straightaway, so we should be going green this lap. Well, on the upcoming lap, lap 15 of 29. So Shikari has been by far the fastest man all day. Veloce is running second though, and he knows that if he can walk out here with that second, he will more than likely have the Drivers' Championship locked up. He could afford to miss the remaining 2 races and still have it locked up, so. Points fight is for Dave though in 9th, trying to take second from Schumacher SF7. In the Manufacturers' Championship, Shikari wants to walk out here with this win. Constant Jet has rebounded from his spin earlier up to 4th. As they come out of the final corner, pace car is in pit lane, and we go green flag once again at Bahrain. No one at the front really in position to make moves. It's not until you get to 5th where Hurricane and Herbie are going to go side by side, and behind them, Books and Gusty will do the same. Hurricane is going to get run off the inside line of 1 by Herbie. Herbie moves up into 5th. And Books gets by Gusty, but Gusty is not done with it yet. Here comes Dave. He wants to make it 3 wide. Gusty falls in line behind the Alpine. Haas makes a little bit of contact with the Alpine. They're both around and hard into the wall. And Books is out. And Books is out of it on a restart after contact with Extreme F1. And Books is not going to be happy about that at all, to say the least. But we stay green, interestingly enough, because they've already gotten his wreckage out of the way. So now we're down to just 13 cars. Adam Lee pitting, coming to the green flag and throwing on a set of soft tires. So I'm guessing he's betting on making a set, running these softs down, betting on another yellow flag, and then putting softs on again to the end of the race. It's a bold strategy. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Mantic Meerkat right behind Dave right now, trying to get back into the points paying position. He has the run, and it looks like he's going to try and out-drag him into the corner. Denies the inside line to the Haas, but the Haas has the outside. He'll be able to exit with a little bit more speed. Meerkat falls back in line. He'll still have draft down the straightaway, though. This battle is not over. Fratters is there behind as well. Here comes Meerkat, looks to the inside again, throws it up the inside, going into 1, denies the inside to the Haas, but the Haas has the inside in 2. Meerkat exits with a good amount of speed, side by side out of 3, and the McLaren comes back in line behind the Haas. Now he dives to the inside once more. He really wants to get back into the points paying positions. A little bit of contact. Haas still has it. Oh, contact! And Meerkat's around right in front of Fratters. And it's the second time we've seen an instant like that where someone makes a bold move, makes contact, and they spin in front of someone else. Now, I think Fratters didn't hit him, or if he hit him, it was at a slow enough speed there won't be any significant wing damage. But still, it's going to be aggravating. Now Meerkat, more than 2 seconds, out from the back of Dave. Flavor has rebounded to 8th at this point in the event. He started the race in 9th. And he said that, look, this has been a rough season next 3. He knows he can perform better than where he has been. He just wants to walk out with a top 10. He is in position to potentially fight for a top 6 because he is within DRS striking zone of Gusty and CJ Hurricane ahead of him. And he is on tires that is faster than those 3 ahead. And we know that Flavor is a master at saving tires to the end. I think Flavor is going to be hounding those 3 ahead of him probably till the end of this race. There is a fight here for 3rd and 4th. Snake is 3rd. Constant Jet is 4th. Now, Jet's in a little bit of a frustrating position because he is on medium tires that will be well worse off than everyone else. He wants to get ahead of this Mercedes and pull as far away from him as he can, so that way he can have clean air on those tires and try to stretch their life out a little bit longer. Jet just a bit less than 6/10 behind Snake going down the straightaway here. The real fight, Hurricane and Gusty. Gusty has the DRS and he will take the position when they... Oh, but he botches the corner and Hurricane is back by. Well, didn't see that coming, to say the least. So Flavor still continues to run in 8th and he has the perfect view of this fight between Hurricane and Gusty ahead. Well, Hurricane, yeah, because Hurricane and Gusty, because Herbie is walking off in 5th. So Flavor has DRS on this straightaway, and he'll use that to stay in touch. He'll also use it as a defense against Extreme F1 behind him. Here comes Gusty on Hurricane, neck and neck. Should be an easy overtake. And Flavor has the inside line. He's around! Ah, it was going so well for him, and now he goes out side by side. Oh, and Fratters spears into him! And Fratters spears into the side of Flavor. Flavor has a time penalty for that. and likely damage as well, and we are back under another safety car. So now we're down to just 12 drivers left in the session, and for Adam Lee, he now gets to jump right back to the rear of the grid with still relatively good tires. All right, coming in the party now is Fratters. Fratters, go ahead and include your audio. Well, we were talking after your incident in qualifying that you didn't have a lot of confidence you'd make it throughout the race. Sadly, that's turned true, but it was a circumstance beyond your control. What happened from your perspective? Alright, well, you're knocked out of it. Your teammate Snake is still in it, right in 7th, so it does look like you might be able to pull some points out of this in the end. 2 races left in the season. Do you think your fortunes can turn around in those remaining 2 races?
I mean, I'd like to think so. At the end of the day, I'm just trying to get Snake. You know, for the team, for I guess for the boys, chances this is going, the amount of people that are up and down, crashing, still got some sort of results. Just have some fun, but unfortunately, today's just not gone that way. Which is a shame. I like to come here and be quite bouncy and jokey, as you know, but
Alright, well, either way, thanks for being willing to jump in and speak with us, mate. We will talk to you at a later time. Alright, cheers. So, everyone except for Gusty and Hurricane came in and threw on soft tires, but Chaos, and now Gusty comes in now to get onto soft tires, I imagine. But Chaos in the AlphaTauri pits, they double stack. Shikari still has the softs that he wanted. Constant Jet is on softs, but they are worn softs. These are softs that he spun and burned up the rubber on earlier. They're going to have to bring this AlphaTauri back in, coming to the green flag, to get proper soft tires on. Otherwise, he's going to have to pit again regardless. So, for Jet, it's been up and down all day today, and it looks like it's going to be another down that he's going to have to fight through. And we're in position that we're going to be going green coming on to lap 21 with 9 laps to go. And then you look at the lead, CJ Hurricane leading the race with hard tires, everyone else on fresh stuff. All right, and coming in the party now is XRL Flavor. Flavor, go ahead and include your audio. It looked like your day was turning around. What happened there? Alright, it does look like the car could have continued, so why did you guys decide to retire it in the pits? Alright. Alright, we'll let you go then, Flavor. Have a better day if you can. Alright, well, thank you very much. We've gone green, and CJ Hurricane really backed up Shikari and the rest of the field, and it has not worked out well for Shikari. For the first time today, he has to deal with trying to overtake someone else, and it's not going well. There's chaos reigning in the back of the grid as well. Now we see Herbie trying to go by. A little bit of contact between Hurricane and Shikari. Shikari is not having a good time trying to get back into the lead that he feels he deserves. Now this is going to leave him open to Veloce. Veloce's trying to fight back against him, and the man who has dominated all day today goes sideways into the Williams. Veloce, your points there, gets knocked out of position. Here comes Herbie. Shikari very angry right now behind Hurricane as Hurricane continues to hold him up in the Aston Martin. This has gotten really weird. You can see Shikari driving erratically with anger as he is trying to get by Hurricane. Dives into the following corner. He finally gets back in the lead where he feels he deserves. But that was more than a little bit chaotic, to say the least. Well, okay. Snake, Constant Jet having a bit of a fight between themselves, and there's Extreme F1 behind looking to try and capitalize depending on how this goes. Jet, top wrapped on those soft tires that are completely dead, and Herbie has to pit. Herbie has wing damage and all that. Oh, and this is mad. There's 5 cars all with a blanket over them here. Jet pulls right out. He says, hey, I want no part to deal in this. He still misses the corner. Gusty and Snake get into it. Now here comes Adam Lee. Here comes Dave. And Jet's tires are so badly dead that in a single lap he goes from 4th to 10th. Gusty, Snake fighting side by side for this position. No contact there. Jet spins further back by himself. As Meerkat gets by Hurricane, Hurricane on those very worn hard tires is now hemorrhaging positions, and Meerkat, who crashed out in qualifying, is now in 3rd, might walk out here with the podium. Those hard tires that Hurricane has are not working out very well for him whatsoever. Now Extreme F1 goes ahead, takes a chance to walk by him without issue. Hurricane looks to the inside. He'll try to deny the inside, but just can't even push those tires to the level that he wants. Now we see Snake trying to go around his outside. And that's his teammate behind Gusty, and Gusty is now behind Hurricane. Here comes Lee to the inside Gusty. Now Gusty goes to the inside of Hurricane, so Lee has his momentum compromised for the moment. Gusty goes around right in front, slide jobs into Hurricane, and may have damaged the Aston Martin's wing. And now Lee goes by. And we'll see Dave do the same on the run down to turn 1. Veloce, Meerkat still fighting for the 2nd position right now. DRS in the McLaren's favor. He'll look to the outside, get the car ahead for a moment, still side by side for a position. Meerkat into 2nd now. For Veloce, who is in 3rd, he just wants to walk out here with a podium, although he'll take 2nd, because that means he might have the championship locked up just by leaving here today. Jet finally in the pit lane, finally gets off those damaged tires. He'll be the fastest car on track, but he'll also be more than 30 seconds out from the rear of the grid, so everything has gone poorly for him. Adam Lee behind Gusty, as there is a DRS train from about 2nd all the way back to 8th right now. Meerkat has the position. Now he is pulling away from Veloce. Is there some damage to Veloce's car? If there is, that could have a significant effect on his title hopes. Although he's still in a very good position, he'd rather be in a great position. He's trying to close back in DRS-wise against Meerkat. He's barely within a second of that McLaren ahead. So he will have DRS he can use as a defense. But Extreme F1 is behind and is still closing on the Williams, faster than the Williams is on the McLaren. Veloce got down to about 6/10, but bungles turn 1. Lee gets by Gusty. Gusty's not done with it yet, but I don't think he has the car under him that can get him by. Hurricane has completely fallen off. Now with DRS, here comes Gusty, shoots to the inside, denies the inside to Adam Lee, a little bit sideways, and he gets it. And Dave is still in 8th, and now he looks for a way to get by Adam Lee. Big twitch by Gusty there in 6th. And the Gusty is now falling and breaking the draft train apart. And Veloce is struggling as well, as putting him under threat from the Alpine of Extreme F1. Yeah, Veloce is falling off. So I have to wonder if maybe he's damaged the car, damaged the front wing, damaged the tires or something, because he is not able to keep pace with Meerkat ahead. Now here comes Extreme F1, trying to get this position against him. Excuse me. He stays out on track, but Extreme F1 significantly faster. Easy DRS overtake, nothing that the Williams can do to fight back. Snake now closing in, Gusty and Adam Lee continuing their spat as well. So Veloce now hemorrhaging positions late in the running here. So his championship run is not over yet. At the rate that he's going, he might lose even more positions. He is barely within DRS range of the Alpine of Extreme F1, but is losing about a 10th nearly every second, and he'll barely make up some of that in the straights, only to lose it again the following corners. Yeah, this is not looking good for Veloce. It seems like this race and what looked to be a podium finish after ranked 2nd almost all day today is slipping from his fingers. 9/10 out and dropping. He's trying to barely stay in DRS range so he can stay ahead of Snake. Adam Lee is fighting with Snake for a 5th position, and these drivers both left DRS. Lee is going to be stupid fast here on the straightaway. And these fighting here will keep Veloce in 4th for a little bit longer. Lee takes the inside, Snake outside. Side by side, a little bit of contact. But Lee has the inside line advantage. He can push it. And now the Aston Martin goes up into 5th. So it's been Hurricane who's been running more top 5 today. Lee was struggling to stay in the points. Now, after this final restart, that's swapped. Lee is the one running top 5. Hurricane is the one struggling to stay in the points. And I don't know if Hurricane will stay in the points because he is on very worn hard tires. Herbie is 10th, 20 seconds out, but on flying softs. And Herbie and Jet will only get faster and faster as Hurricane continues to hemorrhage time in these closing stages. Lee closing on Veloce. Veloce still in 4th, but his race is falling away from him. This here's the closest Veloce has been to Extreme for a while, but you can see that Williams struggles out of the corners. And that's where Lee seems to be extremely strong. So Veloce will have DRS for this straightaway he can use as a defense against the Aston Martin. But the Aston Martin's going to have the draft. I think we're going to see a move made going into turn 1 here. There it is. Looks to the inside. Thinks better it, pulls out. The Williams not good in the corner. Oh, really bad in 3. And there you are. Lee goes by now. Veloce has DRS, but he's not even able to come back. In fact, he's going to have to try and defend potentially against these two, Snake and Gusty here. Veloce might be just far enough ahead of Snake that he doesn't have to worry about losing 5th to him. Lee is actually bearing down on the Alpine of Extreme F1, so he might, in the last moments of this race, might be able to steal a podium position. It'd be an incredible comeback. Veloce out of DRS range. So Snake is going to close rapidly on this final lap by the looks of it. But this is the fight that's going to be the most interesting to watch. Lee within a third of a second. No move here. Really bad run through 1. Closes in 2 and 3 a bit. Is he close up to make a move into turn 4? That's a negative. But there's still a DRS straight in sector 2 he could utilize. He'll need to get right behind the Alpine. And Veloce about to lose 5th position to Snake as well. Might even lose 6th to Gusty. As the Williams has fallen off a cliff completely in this final stint. Lee, within a quarter, within a 5th, within a 10th, he dives to the inside. Lee is going to take a podium position. Veloce barely staying ahead of Snake as they run uphill now. What can Snake do to get by the Williams? Wow, it was way faster there. Veloce had a slightly better exit that time, though. That might be enough. I think Veloce will just barely hold on to 5th. At the front, though, Sha'Carri goes from pole, leads nearly every lap to win here at Bahrain. I'm sorry, we still have 1 lap left. I miscounted. White flag is now. Snake will get by. Now Gusty will get by. So Veloce falls to 7th. He tries to fight back against the Mercedes. Can't make it stick. Here comes Dave. And Dave, who is 3rd in the championship, might actually close the gap on your points leader. Veloce side by side with Snake going into 4. Contact. Veloce runs Snake off circuit just a bit there. But Veloce, who has run 2nd all day long, has slipped back to 6th. Might even lose that to Snake here. Can Snake do anything to get by Veloce? It does not look like it. He is in DRS range, but is he fast enough? No! I hate this post-COVID cough. So Veloce will barely hold on to 6th by the looks of it. So now at the front, Sha'Carri started on the pole, has led the most laps today, and will easily walk home with the victory. Mantic Meerkat recovers from a horrible qualifying to finish 2nd. Adam Lee rebounds great to finish 3rd. No, Gusty gets 3rd on penalty comeback, actually. Adam Lee gets 4th, Dave 5th, Extreme F1 6th, Veloce 7th, Snake 8th, CJ Hurricane on those dead hard tires will finish 9th. And Herbie will walk home 10th. And for Constant Jet, despite being one of the fastest men all day, he will have to settle for no points in 11th position. Jeez! Won't this stop? Ugh. Ugh. All right. Ugh. All right, so Constant Jet will get fastest lap of the day points at least, so he can take some solace in that by the looks of it. All right. And coming into the party is Mantic Meerkat. Meerkat, go ahead and include your audio. Talk about the day. Well, great job, mate. Instant in qualifying means you couldn't even get into Q3, but you rebounded. Great call to come home second, mate. Good job bringing home the points for McLaren. Hopefully you're able to continue that kind of momentum through the end of this season. I was doing so well until the final restart, and then the cough won't go away. I'm sorry, mate. I'm not trying to be an asshole to you. Alright, well, anyways, congratulations, mate. Thanks for being willing to jump in and talk with us. Thank you. Still haven't gotten any word from your race winner, Shikari here. Alright, so it looks like Shikari is not gonna bother jumping in and talking. So I do want to say congratulations to him on that victory. Thank you everyone for watching. I'm sorry my voice has gone completely to crap. I had COVID last week, and while I'm over COVID itself, the mucus is still an issue, so I'm sorry about that. Hopefully next week is better. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.